Alright, today we got a '06 Nissan Maxima with a really noisy power steering pump. So we're going to be changing that out. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, the power steering pump lives way down in there. Let's see if I can get a better shot from underneath here. Here's our power steering pump right here. So what we're going to have to do first is cut the belt tensioner loose. I believe it's a 12 millimeter. I'm going to get back up there and double check it. But yeah, that's where it lives. We've got our supply hose here that comes from the reservoir. Got our high pressure line on the other side. That is a 24 millimeter nut on there. And I do believe the bolt that holds this is from the back, and it's a 13 millimeter. I'm going to start getting this loose. I'll be back. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take that clamp off of the supply line from the reservoir. We're going to drain all this fluid out of here. And I'm going to head up top, and I'm going to get that tensioner bolt loose. This is the adjuster bolt right here for the tensioner. And there's another bolt on the front. It's a locking bolt to hold it in place once you got your tension on your belt tight enough. So let me get this hose off of here and get this to drain it, and I'll go up top and show you the bolt that holds it in place. Alright, now here up top, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this reservoir, coolant reservoir, and get it out of the way, just to give myself a little extra room. We got a 10 millimeter bolt right here. And there was one right here, but apparently it's busted off. So we're going to get that out the way, and then we're going to take our reservoir out of here. This just lifts right out of this slide part right here. Should slide right up. And I got my hose disconnected down below. The fluid's draining. So I'm going to pull this out of the way, pull that reservoir out the way, and I'll be right back. Alright, just a note, when you're taking this reservoir out of here, there's also a little retaining clamp right down here where the hose goes down towards the pump. It's just a little clamp. All you have to do is pop that hose out of that clamp, and the hose should come right up. So I'm going to pull this reservoir out of here. I already got it out of its mounting spot here. As you can see, this just slides right down into this, just like that. You can lift it right out of there to release it. So we're going to get this hose free. Hopefully bring this up. There it goes. We're not going to disconnect it completely. We're going to leave this line attached right here. We just want to get our supply line out of the way so we can get our hand down in here to get to this bolt that's on the belt tensioner. Because it is not an automatic tensioner, it is a manual tensioner. Alright, so get that out the way. Just gonna move it to the side. And the reservoir also did not disconnect that. You can see it's still connected. Just took those bolts out and lifted it up and sat it off to the side. So now, the bolt for the tensioner, this will be hard to show. It is right down there. I don't know if this is showing up or not, but it looks like it's a 12 millimeter bolt. I do believe it's 11 or 12. I'm going to get this thing loose, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got this hose off, and the power steering fluid is draining. I also cracked this right here. This is your high pressure line bolt. Cracked that loose. That is a 24 millimeter, and that belt tensioner, it is a 12 millimeter. Now, to release the tension on the belt, this is the bolt here that you're going to have to turn. You're going to have to turn it clockwise to release the pressure. It'll start to release the pressure on the belt. So I'm going to get that loose, and I'm going to take that bolt out of that high pressure line right there. Let that continue draining. And let's see, I might be able to get it loose with my hand. And keep in mind there are some washers on here, sealing washers, one on the top, one on the bottom. Don't want to lose those if you don't have any replacements, like I'm about to do. And this is what the bolt will look like. You can see it's got the hole that supplies the fluid, and there's a brass washer, copper washer, you can't tell, in there, and then there's another one that goes on the bottom. So we got that loose. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna loosen up this belt here, and I'll be back. Alright, what I had to do here was take the outer tie rod loose to give myself a little extra room, because what I'm gonna have to do now is get up to the back of the pump. And there's a 13mm bolt that goes through the back of the pump. I'm not gonna be able to show it to you because it's just, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get my hand through there. But if you feel back there, you'll feel the bolt, and you're gonna have to get it out of there. It's not a fun time, and I'm pretty sure it is a 13mm if I'm not mistaken. So let me get this loose, and I'll bring you back when I got it all apart and I can show you exactly what's going on. Okay, here is the old pump. Now, what I went ahead and did and busted this loose. This is a 19mm for the pulley. You've got a lock washer. Then this pulley should just come right off of here, which it does. This is the bracket. I'm going to have to transfer this to the new pump. This is your mounting bolt hole that I was trying to tell you about, that's on the back of the engine. The bolt comes in from the from the driver's side. You're not going to be able to see it, and it is a 14mm. It is not a 13 like I thought. It is a 14. And let's see, here it is here. This is what it looks like. So that has to come out like that towards the driver's side. And we're going to go and get ourselves a pump. Let me see if I can show down in here where it mounts. Okay, look up in here and see where the mounting hole is right there. Try and point it out. It will go right here. And this is a bushing. So before you put your new pump in, you're going to have to take a pry bar, maybe a hammer, and push that bushing all the way back in. See, it's out a little bit right now. It's got to be pushed all the way, tapped all the way back in. Otherwise, you're going to catch hell getting your new pump in. You put that bolt through the bottom of that pump. It pushes that bushing up against the alternator to help tighten it up and hold it in place. So you got to get that bushing pushed back in there. So I'm going to grab a new part, and I will be back. Alright, we are back with this 2006 Nissan Maxima. This is the one I'm putting the power steering pump on. I got my pump back on and started this thing up, and turns out we have got a nasty leak on our high pressure line, which is probably why the pump burnt up. So I went on ahead, took the air box out of here and the air snorkel, and I started getting the line loose. You'll be able to see that, but the end of it is ripped off, which really isn't a big deal. This is jammed up down here. Man. Okay, let me see if I can put a light on this. I don't think this is going to come out too good, but let's see what I can do. Okay, I don't know if it's going to come out or not. Right there where that light is, that's where the line goes in. There's the piece of line that is ripped. The end piece is ripped off of it. That's not a big deal. That is a 14mm that is on there. And this is what the other end of it looks like. You got your seal right here. But what happened apparently is this line is rusted inside of this fitting, and this whole thing just twisted. But like I said, not a big deal, so we're going to replace it anyway. So I'm going to get the passenger side wheel back off, and I'll be back once I got to that point. Okay, now in order to get this line out, I'm going to have to get this bolt out here. It's a retaining bolt, it's a 10 millimeter. And I'll show you where this goes. Get my hand back in here. Bolt goes right here to this retaining clasp, which I'll more than likely have to transfer to the new line, but it may come with it. But yeah, that bolt there, little small 10 millimeter. And my next step will be to go up underneath here, and we're going to disconnect our connection at the power steering pump, which is a 24 millimeter. Let's see if I can see it. So it is right there. I'm trying to put my finger on it. Right here. So we're going to disconnect that there. I do believe there's one more retainer. Yeah, there's one more retainer that holds this in right there. So we'll unbuckle that and snake our line out of here some kind of way. So I'm gonna get this loosened and I'll be back. Alright, here we are up underneath, and I want to show where the bolts for the retaining bracket are. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see this. There we go. There they are, right there. You're gonna have to get those two 10 millimeters out of bolts out of both of those, and excuse me, two 10 millimeter bolts out of them. And I got it from up top, but you really can't see a whole lot. I use a 1/4 inch ratchet and a short 10 millimeter. Got those loose, and all I have to do is crack my 24 millimeter loose up top at the power steering pump, and this should come on out of here. So I'm gonna get another drain pan and get that loose, and I'll be back. Alright, so I got this line out of here, and one thing I forgot to mention is you got to disconnect the power steering pressure switch right here. That is up right at the connection by the pump. This is the bracket that I was talking about. You got to get loose the two 10 millimeter bolts and go through there. And I opted to just take these two. I could have got this one, but it's just a little simpler to get those two out and wrestle with that one. And this is the clip for the return line. It has a plastic top that goes on here. Just pops right off. And I'm waiting for my new part to get here, so I will be back once I've got that and got it in place. Alrighty, I have got this pump back in, and it was quite a battle. I think the hardest part about this is getting that bolt in from behind the pump. It's a 14 millimeter, and it's got to come from behind and come towards the front of the pump. It's really hard to get both hands up in there and line that pump up with the slot it's got to go in. So that is all together. Got a new high pressure line in there, and I just filled it up. So what we are going to do, we're sitting here waiting for all of our bubbles to pretty much come up out of the reservoir. We've still got a little bit coming out, but if you're going to do this job, I'm going to go over some of the tools you're going to need to make it a little simpler. Here's the 14 millimeter 1/4 inch drive ratchet. That's what I use to get the back bolt out. You're going to need a 12, and I used, this is about a 12 inch extension and another 6 inch to get the tensioner bolt. You're going to need a 12 millimeter wrench to get the front tensioner bolt. You have to loosen that up first. 24.5 inch drive to get the high pressure line loose from the pump. I used a pair of angled needle nose to get the clamp off of the reservoir line going into the pump. And when you change your pulley over on the front of your pump, you'll need a 19 millimeter. And that is pretty much it. So I'm going to start this thing up. And, I got to finish putting the tie rod out the way. Back in, I took it out the way because it was just too much stuff in the way. We'll put that back in and put our cover back on under there and ship this thing out the door. So if this helped you out in any way, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Sorry it's been a minute since I put video up. I've just been super busy, just haven't really had the time to do the videos. But I will see you on the next one.